Come make a casserole carrier with me. Hi, I'm Angie Dugan from the Quilting Connection. Welcome to my channel, Angie's Answers. I'm so happy that you're here. I wanted to come and show you a project that is pretty easy to make. It's using the computerized system. So I have my Handi Quilter Amara here with Pro Stitcher, and I am going to be walking you through how to make this adorable casserole carrier. Doesn't necessarily have to be a holiday gift, could be a great present for birthday, anniversary, anything like that. So it is super cute, and it says happiness is homemade. This isn't quite done yet, but I wanted to show you the main part. This will roll over, and then it's gonna be 2 wooden spoons to help hold this together. There's no binding on this project. I'm gonna do about 90% of it on my long arm, so it was a really easy gift to do, and especially no binding on this curve. That made my day. But I was searching for a tutorial on how to do this and couldn't really find a video, so I thought I would make one for you. So it is adorable. This is the top. The back is also the same. Happiness is homemade. The bottom has these flames on it, and then the 2 inside pieces to help secure that 9x13 dish have these spoon pieces on it too. So this whole thing is going to be quilted on the long arm. We're actually going to add the lining on the long arm. So I've got some tips and tricks for you to be able to get this done. Like I said, about 90% on the long arm. I have to take this to my domestic sewing machine and sew 1/8 of an inch away all the way around. And then I have to close up where I had left the opening to be able to flip this. So there's still a little bit that needs to be done on my domestic, but we're going to do most of it here. So a couple of tools that you will want to have ready before you start this project. We of course are going to use our glide foot, our scoop foot. I am also going to switch and show you how to do some ruler quilting too. So I have my taller sure foot. This is what the box looks like. It's just a taller profile foot. So I've got my sure foot here, which means I also have to have my ruler base for my machine. And then we're gonna be using the Versatool ruler to help secure that lining to the project once we have it all quilted. So I don't need that stuff quite yet. Another thing that you will want, if you haven't seen before, is our flip zipper system. So I've got the project loaded on right now with it right side facing up. This is going to be the outside of the casserole carrier, but there's going to be a point where we're going to need to take that project and flip it upside down in our frame. So we designed this zipper system called the flip zipper to be able to do that. So you will want a set of those as well. I will put links to everything down below in the comments. And then I am also using pre-wound bobbins. I do have a backing fabric loaded on here that you're never gonna see, so I didn't really care what that color of my bobbin thread was, and this is a nice 60 weight thread, so I'm getting a lot more on that bobbin. So I am using a pre-wound bobbin too. You can find the step-by-step tutorials for this on prostitcher.com. So if you go to prostitcher.com, on the top, you do want to sign in. So make sure you create an account and make sure you're signed in. And then on the top, there's going to be patterns. And then there's a drop-down menu. Click on projects. Scroll down in those projects. It was on page number 1, and it is a casserole carrier. So this is what it's going to look like once those wooden spoons are in there. If you know me, I did make a little bit of adjustments. So I did originally load on what it said in the directions here, but then I was like, that wasted a lot of fabric. So I'm trying not to waste fabric if possible. And I understand why, just to help with placement, to make sure that you don't have to be as precise. But I'm gonna show you how to make sure that it is precise and everything lines up so we don't waste fabric as possible. So it is going to be for a 9x13 pan. So I originally on the sheet, it said that you wanted a 1/2 yard for your main fabric. So my main fabric is this white. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's white on white, but it is a white fabric here, and there's a cute little just dot on it. I didn't want plain, but I wanted the Pro Stitcher quilting to be the highlight of it, so I didn't want a busy fabric for that outside of my casserole carrier. You can of course make this in any fabrics that you want. So I chose the white fabric for my main. Originally it said 1.5 yards, but I found I didn't need that much, so I actually cut it down to be about 53 inches. Then for my lining fabric, this is going to be the inside of my casserole carrier. So this I also cut to be 53 inches. We'll use that a little bit later. Then you do want to get this Insulbright batting. If you haven't seen it, it's a warm and natural product. This is the 45-inch wide Insulbright. So I have 45 inches wide by 60 inches. So I did cut that Insulbright. Originally it said 1.5 yards, but I cut it down to 60. No, wait, that would be a little bit more. Okay, I did make that a little bigger than what they had wanted, just because I like to have my backing and my batting, my Insulbright is my batting, I like those to be the same size. So this backing fabric that's loaded on here, this cream color, you're never gonna see that because that Casserole Carrier is going to get a lining fabric. So my backing and that Insulbright batting, I cut them both at 60 inches wide. It originally said 2 yards for backing, but I didn't need it that big. So my backing and the Insulbright batting are both 60, and then my main top fabric I cut to 53, and my lining fabric I also cut to 53 inches. Then the other things you will need to be able to complete this is the 2 wooden spoons. It says they should be at least 13.5 inches long. And then we do need some Velcro for those side flaps to come in to Velcro those down. So 2 sides of Velcro, so one piece that is 1 inch by 7 inches. So the hook side and the soft side, both of those should be 1 inch by 7 inches. So I've got everything loaded on my frame here. We're gonna baste the perimeter of this down, and it did recommend in here to do some basting stitches throughout this middle, just to help secure it and make sure that there isn't any of that fabric draw. So I'm gonna work on basting that middle down, and then we'll work on placement. I'll be right back. I've basted my perimeter down. I've got my side clamps on, holding my side edges. We use these little curtain rods, slide these curtain rods in to help keep that up. Now I'm gonna run some basting stitches through the project. So I'm gonna bring up my bobbin thread over here on this left side, turn it on and do that little wiggle to lock it in place. In Pro Stitcher Premium, there is a button on the Pro Stitcher tab right next to quilt that says baste. So that's gonna take my machine and put it into a basting stitch, a longer stitch. If your machine doesn't have that, just lower your stitch length until you get to a basting stitch. Then I'm gonna turn it on and I'm gonna work my way across the quilt, just putting these larger basting stitches in to help secure these layers together. I did notice on the first one that I didn't do this basting stitch, and I did have some draw. So it kind of pulled in a little bit. So these basting stitches should help secure it so I don't get that same fabric draw. So I always stitch from left to right. I usually kind of place my hand down, and I've got my pinky on that last line I did, and I've got my thumb pushed against the glide foot, and that's about the size of basting stitch that I like to do. You can do whatever size you like to do. Some people like to turn their machine into this basting mode and then do like a big kind of meander pattern and, you know, run their way around that fabric to hold those layers together. It's just important that you are securing these layers together. So I am going to advance this forward. I'm going to take off my side clamps here. I'm going to take my scissors too and cut these basting stitches out where I started, and take off these clamps, and then I'm gonna advance it forward. So I'm gonna loosen my belly bar here, my backing bar, and roll this up probably about to there. Then it's important that I make sure this fabric is nice and taut, nice and tight. My Insulbright batting is also flat, so I'm gonna come back up here, bring up my bobbin thread. I'm gonna take it out of the basting mode as I stitch down this side, because I like these side edges to be held a little tighter. And I'm just, again, gonna make sure that that fabric is nice and flat, held nice and tight. Then I can bring up bobbin thread over here. Always good habits. Anytime you cut an ending thread, go find where you started and cut that off. So now, because this is basted, I'm gonna take my side clamps and put those side clamps on. Then we're gonna come over here and baste this down. Bring up my bobbin thread. So I make that long tail, then I go back and do one more stitch. Cut where I started, cut where I ended, and get my side clamps back on. So I'm gonna place my hand where I did that last basting stitch, bring my hopping foot up to my thumb, turn it on, turn it back into base mode, and work my way across. I'll turn this into a time lapse so you don't have to watch the whole thing, but just wanted to make sure that those basting tips made sense. So I've gotten towards the bottom and I wanted to stop to come back and show you. My backing fabric ends shorter than how much top fabric and Insulbright fabric I have. So I'm not all the way to the end of my top fabric, my white fabric. I'm feeling underneath and feeling where that ends. I can also feel up here where my pins are, and that's where I'm stitching this straight edge across, is making sure that I'm not hitting those pins. So I'm going along this bottom edge, making sure that I'm still catching where my backing fabric is without sewing my canvas or sewing my zipper. Because I do have that backing fabric pinned to a zipper, so I just need to make sure that I'm not hitting those pins. So I'm gonna stop here, let me bring up my bobbin thread, and then let me flip this out of the way a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So my backing fabric ends here, but I still have extra Insulbright and top fabric. That's because I started down from the top edge of this fabric. So this cream fabric was 44 inches wide, my white is 44 inches wide, my Insulbright is, I think, 45 actually, but I started down from that top edge, so that's why I've got this extra down here. So just make sure that you feel underneath and feel where your backing fabric ends so you don't accidentally stitch through to your canvases or run over pins or anything like that. Then I do just need to base these last couple sections here, and then we'll be ready to start lining up. Everything's basted all the way around, all my layers are held together. So now we're gonna roll back and get to the top, and then we're gonna start working on placing this design. So let me loosen up this roller bar here. We'll roll everything back this way. I usually drop my curtain rods, which is normal, but I wanna be able to see that top edge inside of my space here. It is important that I also put my side clamps on. This is why I like that Insulbright batting to be the same size as my backing, so then I can clamp to both, because I do have these clamps pretty tight. Normally we want to be able to like open and close them in the same spot, but I do have these clamps pulling a little tighter, because like I said on that first one, I noticed that there was some draw. So let me put these clamps on. All right, then let's work on opening the design. So I'm going to bring you closer so you can see my Pro Stitcher.